You ready?
Yep.
We're ready?
We're ready.
Okay. We're Facebooking live here with Roland Comtois from, let me say this.
Yes.
I wrote on my Facebook page originally today that you were a psychic medium. Then I was corrected. You're a medium.
Sure.
Tell me what you do and how you do it.
I sit with people, I feel energy, I hear stories of their families that have passed, and I tell them, and I share it with them. And we share the love and the messages and the hope and the inspiration that our loved ones want to send us.
Do you ever get the bad messages from people? Oh, hold on, before you
Yes.
answer that. By the way, if you want to ask Roland a question, go ahead and post it, and we're going to take some of your questions and ask him on behalf of you, okay? Okay. So you were saying?
So, bad messages in the sense, I've spoken to thousands of people whose sons have committed suicide. That's bad. I mean, it becomes a very overwhelming story. So from that perspective, that's a bad story. It's a heavy story. So I get lots of those kinds of things. But the truth is, most of the messages that I receive are all about love and support and healing.
That's the most attractive thing.
It is.
Energy-wise.
Look, I'm in an audience with a lot of people, right? And I say, oh no, the medium's going to give another I love you message. Who really wants to hear I hate you from the other side? Really?
Well, it's interesting because what I'm hearing you say is that the love portion of it is more attractive energy-wise. It's more attractive. Somebody's going to have to be super, 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 super full of hate to even equal like a medium love somewhere.
You're right.
It's more powerful. Right. Okay.
And not only that, it's about letting go of the pain of the past, letting go of the things we didn't do right or things we didn't say right. Most people say to me, did I do enough for my mother, my son, my father, my friend? And people live with that pain of not, or at least thinking they didn't do enough. And then when someone gets a message, right, a message that says, you were right there by my side the entire time, it changes them.
What's the most memorable moment you have ever had doing these things? I mean, is there something that sticks out as an outlier?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I've had thousands of moments, but there was one moment that was so profound, Chrissy, that it changed the way I see what I do.
What happened?
It was a family in Jay, New York. They were sitting in the back row of an audience, and they were heartbroken over the loss of their dad. These young kids, right?
Young kids.
And young kids. They were teenagers.
Oh, God.
Teenagers without their dad, right? That's excruciating. And so I'm starting to do what I do, and I'm giving them a message, and the son and the daughter are reacting, and the mother is overwhelmed. And then I realized that a year prior to meeting them, not knowing them, not ever seeing them, was a description of how their father died and the story he wanted to leave his kids. That's not the best part.
What do you mean a description? What do you mean by that?
Well, on the paper it had an image of a bus, and the father was killed in a tragic bus accident.
You got that message a year before, and you wrote it down, took notes of it, and you looked through your notes, and you realized he tried to talk to you already.
Yes, that's the whole point of it. Like all these messages are messages that were recorded in advance of meeting someone. I'll tell you another story about that in a minute if you'd like. But this young kid who was struggling with the loss of his dad, a year later I received a letter from the family. It said that when he left that room, he went home, he started to write a letter to his father. He started to get in touch with what he was feeling. And then he went into his classroom as a 16-year-old kid, or whatever his age was, and he started to tell people that I'm getting emotional telling you the story.
It's okay.
The kid was able to take a step through his grief and pain. And the letter said, I'm talking now, I'm telling my friends, I don't have to hold my grief in alone anymore. That's the power of getting a message. Look, we get stuck at looking how the psychic mediums of the world look on TV. Everything is edited and cut in pieces. Here, it's raw, it's emotional, and it's life-changing. Can I just tell one other story?
Of course.
So recently I was in Rhode Island, and there was a man in the audience had desperately longed for a message from his wife. And there I am in a room with a bunch of strangers, right, doing what I do, and there's a guy in the back row, very protective of his energy, doesn't want me to see him, doesn't want to do anything, right? And then all of a sudden we realize there is a purple paper with his wife's name on it. Fine. There's a lot of Catherines that have passed on. He starts to read every word. He realizes now, maybe this is for me. He's not saying this out loud, but he's starting to have some realization. And then on the paper was a table. I had drawn a table, and it says kitchen table with a smiley face or something. For the 3 years before she passed away, she had one request: can you resurface the kitchen table?
And he never did.
And he never did. He never did.
Oh, did he finally do the table?
Well, wait a minute. He never did, right? And now he's getting heck from the other side for not doing the table.
I love it.
You can't win.
That's
what
you
can't win.
I was going to ask if that happened too. If they were doing that in life, are they doing that in death?
Well, sometimes they are. Sometimes they are.
That is great. Do you ever get writer's block? Do you ever have moments where you're just like, oh, I'm jammed?
No.
How do you keep yourself in a place where you can be healthy enough? I mean, do you have to take vacations? Or
That's another amazing question. You have to work at it. I mean, just like someone who exercises, they have to work at it. Just like somebody who...
But when I exercise, I have to take breaks.
You do. So do I. I have to take breaks. I have to get out of that space so that it doesn't overwhelm me. The reality of this is, the purpose of this is to bring a person a little bit of peace, right? I say this to everyone I meet. I'm not in the business of talking to dead people. I am in the business of talking to the living. So you can live.
Interesting.
I've never heard the other side say, be depressed. Don't get out of bed.
What do they usually say? What's the message that all of them, everybody's saying to the life?
I know it's maybe cliche, but they do say, I love you. I think love is much more powerful.
It sounds like it.
It's much more powerful than death. It's much more powerful than grief and loss. And when we reestablish that love, what happens next is you can live your life. When the family members of this purple paper, they get that paper, they're going to take a step. They're going to take a step through their grief, and something is going to shift in them.
I have friends that are relationship experts.
Yes.
And they're married.
Yes.
And they once told us, they were here at the station, and they once told us that you can have a relationship with anybody at any time. Whether it's somebody that's in the newsroom with you, or somebody that's across the other side of the world, somebody that's dead.
Yes.
And it was just one of those moments, those aha moments, and I thought, oh, I get it. I get it. You have the relationship no matter what.
No matter what.
You can't make something more or less than it is, any way, shape, or form, dead or alive, on the other side of the earth, upwards, downwards, salt, pepper, white, black.
Whatever.
Okay.
A relationship is a relationship, no matter where it takes you on your journey.
Interesting.
But, someone like me helps you to take a step through it.
Okay, Shelley, do we have some questions?
Yeah, you bet. Roland, we have a lot of people that seem to want to know if their loved ones are okay. Well, they really want that validation that their loved ones are okay, and that what they're doing here
this is great.
Is good too.
Okay, so look, I think our loved ones are part of our story. Look, I'm not the guy that believes, and my mother died a few years ago. I don't believe she's dead and not part of me anymore.
Right.
She is. I have to figure out how she is part of me now, just like everybody who's asking that question, because everybody wants to know if their loved ones are okay. Everyone wants to know that.
Are they?
They are okay. They are okay for the most part, and some of them might need a prayer or two, right? I remember meeting a family once, and their father didn't believe in the afterlife, and he was like this, and he was an intense man.
Yeah.
And they said to me, I am quite sure it took him years to get through the door, And so it might take a little longer for some of us to get where we need to go, just like in life.
Is that a painful time for them?
It isn't. It's a healing time, right? Oh. It's a healing time. I don't think we leave here to go into more pain. I think we leave here to go into more opportunity to heal the things that are broken. So, yeah, I think your loved ones are okay. How do you know they're okay? You ask for a sign or a message, and then you have to trust what you feel inside, right? Come on, messages come. They come in incredible ways, but they don't come to all the mediums of the world. And by the way, if anyone ever told you the only way to get a message is from a medium, they lied to you. They're your people.
Yeah, look, and have patience with that. I would guess if you're asking for something, maybe it doesn't happen right that second, but maybe 5 minutes later, or like at dinner time the same day or the next day. I mean, but you have to know what you ask for and have patience. No, I mean, does it happen right away?
Some people it does, and some people it does not. You have to be patient. You have to walk the path. You have to live your life. You have to live your mission. You have to do what you're supposed to do. And then while you're doing all of that, you have to pay attention. Right? The only way we can really get the message is we have to pay attention and we have to be invested in our lives. Otherwise, forget it. Right? Live your life.
The people that are living,
yes.
What do they usually want? They want to know if they're okay on the other side.
Yes.
but what do they want for themselves, to feel better?
That's a
you know,
great
what do
question.
they need? What are they really asking for? You know what I mean?
Some of them, there's a lot of answers to that question, but the majority of it is about forgiveness. They want to be sure that they're still loved.
Oh.
Still loved.
By the person who passed.
Yes. They want to know that they forgave them for a little something they did. Can I just share another quick story with you? My mother was dying, and she had been dying for days. And one of the things she was worried about was she going to be in trouble for an incident or a thing that happened 35 years prior to her passing? Okay. So, right? We carry things.
Your mother had issues with guilt, no?
we have to heal some part. We have to heal the parts that are not settled, the parts that feel broken inside. We have to do that. We have to do that for ourselves, and we have to do it for our family.
Well, that takes skills. You have to be taught how to do that.
Yes,
I mean, you're not born with conflict resolution skills.
You're absolutely true.
You're actually born with conflict skills
You're
as humans for evolution. To be reasonable and have conversation and have what is it called when you become complete with something or have peace or
oneness or whatever.
That actually takes quite a bit of action.
It takes work. It takes a lot of work. It's not easy to be here. It takes work. It takes energy. It takes effort. And in the end, it'll be.
It feels uncomfortable.
Amazing.
It feels uncomfortable to do that, but in the end, it feels better.
Well, look, we're more familiar with the things that are discomfort. It's time that we become familiar with the things that are comfortable, that are harder. Really, the discomfort pushes us forward.
Shelley Moore?
Yeah, several of our Facebook fans are asking for messages.
Sure.
So how do they know when they're getting a message? What should they look for? How do they know?
This is a great question. The first thing you need to do is just stop, ask for a message, and then be open to receive. And when you receive it, take it in. Well, here's what happens. You get a message, and then what do? You begin a negotiation with the afterlife, right? Was that really you? Was that you sending me a sign? And then you ask and ask and ask. I think what you need to do is clear your mind, get a little bit peaceful as you can be, and then allow that message to come. But I can tell you absolutely 100% that when a message is there, it's peaceful first. There's a sense of, oh, I got it. Right? We have that moment, and then all of a sudden we start thinking about it. Oh, well, maybe I made it up. Maybe I was hypoglycemic.
Well, no, people are worried about what other people will think of them.
Well, that's for sure.
They don't want to go tell their parents or their friends that they just got a message from their loved one.
Yes, for sure.
Because they're afraid that they're going to look bad.
They're going to be ridiculed. They're going to,
yes. And so either they choose not to do it in the first place because they're scared of something way down the line, being judged. Or they just stop short of even doing it, or maybe they could just do it and not tell anybody.
I think they're secretly doing it, but they're not saying to the world, "Hey, this is what I've done." Not long ago I did an event and there was a big guy in the room, and I said to him at the end, "Don't tell your friends you came to see a medium. It's fine." and he said, "Oh, okay, thank God."
You don't have to tell anybody.
You don't have to tell anybody.
It's just between you and them.
You're right. It's you and the afterlife, and I just happen to be the guy in the middle at that moment.
Roland, can you answer specific questions?
Sure.
Like a specific question from someone online? I don't know. Do we have anything specific?
Let me look for.
I'm wondering if someone has a specific question. Hi, I'm X, Y, and Z, and I'm looking to speak with 1, 2, and 3.
It would be very intriguing to me if someone out there was looking for Paul, wouldn't it? Because this is the purple paper that I've chosen out of all these for the last 11 years.
I've noticed that you've had that on your top there the whole time. Paul is so... What is that?
Okay, I'll read. Paul is so sorry about all the complications.
Paul is so sorry about all the complications. Okay.
Can you believe what I went through? I really did care. I really did, with an exclamation point.
Okay.
Sometimes I felt lost, scared through this, but I know how you cared. I love you. Look for the lights. I'm not sure what it means, right? And then, you see how it says 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and highlighted in yellow?
Yeah.
That means that guy went through 3 years of some very intense experiences. Okay. I've chosen several for today because I had a lot of feelings about these messages and about what was going on. This is about Johnny, who wants to tell his story.
What does Johnny say?
So Johnny said, Johnny wants everyone to know that there's a heaven. I thought it was all a game, he says. I thought this whole idea of heaven was a joke. So he's very humorous the way he presents his message. I left so fast that I couldn't breathe, he says. I found my friend, and he goes back in this message, who's a friend of his, a very close friend of his, that committed suicide.
In high
So they all...
Ryan, hold on, Ryan. I'm curious the details. Ryan passed unexpectedly, but wants you to know that he is happy. I sent you. Sorry.
Yeah.
What? Most beautiful. Okay.
So when you look at this paper, you see this image, right?
Yeah.
I'm not an artist. Well, see, that's what most people say. I'm not much of an artist, right? It's a bird. Now, to you, it looks like.
It looked like a bird to me.
Oh, thank God.
I'll be honest with you.
Oh, thank you.
I know, that's what I thought it was.
That. But it is a bird, and there's a significance to that for some reason. And
Roland.
Yes.
Tina Alvarez, my mom's best friend in the whole world, Terry.
That's all. That's it, please. I'll answer her question.
Okay.
So whatever. What's that woman's Tina's name, right?
No, hold on.
Asking the question.
Tina's asking the question.
All I want to know is Tina asking the question.
Okay,
whatever she's trying to ask me, she's been on a mission to have an answer for the last 6 or 7 months, right? And so there's a lot of energy around the answer, that there's finally a sense of ease about the person she's asking about. But it wasn't an easy transition or change. So I understand by what I'm feeling right now that her mother's friend went through a lot of tragic experiences somehow, and they want to have a sense of peace about where she is, what she's gone through, and how she's doing at this moment. So there's a lot of energy just by that moment.
I don't understand what you mean.
So here's where we are. When a message comes, it's like getting a text message. It's instantly there.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear her whole question. I understand that what she's asking me, just by what you read and what I feel, is that they want to have some relief about what her mother's friend went through, is going, all this, it's all unsettled. Something is still unsettled, and they're looking for clarity or answers. And the answer to me is, the story is that there's going to be a very clear moment soon, maybe even now, when things start to get easy for that family.
Does it say? I'm curious.
Why don't you read the whole question? But there's a lot to it.
There's a lot of questions coming in.
Yeah.
Wow. Shelley is scrolling all the way back down. Oh, there it is. So the question
Why don't you just read the whole thing, and then, I'm sorry I interrupted you there.
No, that's okay. This is your deal, man. Okay, Tina Alvarez, my mom's best friend in the whole world, Terry, passed away back in 2011.
Yes.
My mom still haven't recovered from her passing. Is Terry okay?
Yeah, and here's the situation. Here, take this, Stephen. Just take a look for me. Here's the situation. It's tragic. Every part of it is overwhelming to me. So I understand the question. The answer is there is a sense of peace, but what she went through in the last few weeks or few months even was very overwhelming. And so whatever message you're searching for, it's because you need to say that she's finally at peace. I have a peace about her. I feel a sense of ease, but I understand that it wasn't a simple process. It wasn't a simple experience.
When she was alive.
Yes. That's what this is about.
But now?
Now there's peace. Now there's ease. Now there's a sense of, there's an answer to the story. And
excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting. It was Terry.
Yeah. There's a lot of ease. That's all I can tell you. But the mother, they were inseparable, those two. Mm-hmm. They were like one, soul sisters, if you will. And their connection was amazing. But they want to know that she's peaceful from the events of her life, the events of the last 2 months. That's where the story is. The story is in there somewhere.
Well, Shelley, how are we doing on time? Do you want to keep going? Can we ask another question?
I think we have a few more minutes here.
Can I ask you another one?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's see. What's my grandpa up to? How about
let's see here.
That was a good one. Do babies and kids talk to you?
Okay, so I had a near-death experience 25 years ago. I was doing a small event in Rhode Island. I was there. There were 20 people in the room. I collapsed. I died.
What?
Yes, I was gone. And my cousin, she was hosting, trying to get me back. And she said my skin was as cold as my grandfather's. And I started to die. I saw a light. Here's why I'm telling you this. Because I saw babies that had passed being carried to the next place. So, yes, the answer is yes to the question. Because the relationship wasn't built on words. The relationship was built on love. It's love that is the language here that we're talking about. So the answer is yes to the question, that babies and children.
What do they say? Is it different from what the adults say?
Actually, it's a much different story. It's full of life. It's full of energy. You know, they have a lot to say. I've met many women who have lost their babies before birth. I've met many women who have lost children at young and old ages. And even though I cannot remember them, but I haven't forgotten them in some way. Mm-hmm. So they tell a big story.
Do they go like this? Mommy, 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 mom.
Yeah, like,
mom,
hey, come
mom.
on. Yeah, they do.
Are you serious?
Come on, are you hearing me or not?
Mom,
yeah.
mom, over here, mom.
Totally.
Okay, how do you pronounce, let's see, Neftali Trevino. My wife and I lost our beautiful daughter to cancer this past November, a month away from her 4th birthday. And our friends keep telling us their daughters are talking to our daughter.
Oh, I believe that.
This is terrible. Is this possible?
But it is possible. And the world I live in is
this
possible,
is great.
Chrissy.
This is great. This is not terrible. This is great.
It's in the world I live in, it's possible. But what it does for that person who's asking the question is that it gives them hope. It gives them hope. Who doesn't need a little hope to get through that grief or that kind of loss?
Well, maybe they are talking to the kids.
They are.
You know?
They're
they're clear at that age.
I've written about a young girl who was 2 years old who had a very lengthy conversation with a grandfather she never met before. I've had conversations with 5-year-olds who talk about their grandmothers. They've never seen them in this life, but they know them in some way.
They haven't been clouded with all the social
You're
mores
right.
that we put in their heads as
You're
they
right.
get older. My son is 4, and we were walking in this area. He saw this man who had really dark skin and in a jacket and hair, and the man. My son goes, "Hey, how are you?" And
No
he goes,
way.
he goes, "Hi, buddy," and he keeps on walking. And then there was this really light skin, interesting the skin colors, and his hair. This other guy, way far away, and his hair was like pointed up a little bit, and he was just walking into a store. And my son goes, "He's a bad guy."
Oh my gosh. Well, kids are sensitive.
He said he's a good guy, he's a bad guy.
They're much
and
more aware.
I never discourage that, you know.
So you're on. You're gonna go on air.
Oh, right. In 2 seconds.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I gotta go, Roland.
Oh,
I have
thank
more.
you.
Can you stay? Can you stay just a minute?
I think I have to listen to my boss.
Okay.
here.
Quickly, please.
Okay. All right. Facebook out.
Thank you.
Russo out.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. There's